really just saw like Christian, Justin, Quincy kind of start circling Ray a little bit. Words were exchanged. Things started getting heated as we went into the parking garage. You know, I feel like chests were being bumped.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? He wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh.
Oh no, not Katt Williams pulling receipts again. And this time, he's coming for Diddy's bloodline. That's right, Katt didn't just name drop Diddy. He exposed his sons, yes, Justin and Christian Combs, for allegedly plotting to jump Terrence Howard. Why? Because Terrence opened his mouth and exposed their daddy, and baby, it's ugly. Terrence Howard? He just tossed Diddy right back into the hot seat with explosive claims about Diddy making moves on men in the industry. And when he said Diddy came at him sideways, that's when things really blew up. Because now, with Diddy's trial creeping closer, this kind of mess is the last thing the Combs family needed. And guess who knew it too? His sons. Justin and Christian allegedly weren't having any of it. According to Katt, they tried to shut Terrence up fast. And if you've been paying attention, then you already know people have been whispering that Diddy's sons aren't exactly choir boys in this mess. They've been too close to the fire not to get burned, so now with Katt blowing the lid off this thing, it looks like they might have just gotten themselves way too deep. Let's break it down. First of all, nobody's shocked that Katt Williams is riding for Terrence Howard. Katt's been trying to take Diddy down for years. You remember that iconic Club Shay Shay interview where he dropped bomb after bomb about Hollywood's dirty secrets? Yeah. Katt said Diddy allegedly offered him $50 million, 0 cents for one night. Wild. So if anyone's got the tea and the courage to spill it, it's Katt.
They offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
Katt says Justin and Christian were furious over Terrence dragging their dad's name through the mud. They were allegedly planning to teach him a lesson and silence him once and for all. Now, let's be real. When they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this case, the apples might still be hanging on the same damn branch. Because if the lawsuits and allegations are anything to go by, Diddy's not the only one with a violent streak and shady past. His sons, they might be following right in his footsteps. So what did Terrence say that sparked this firestorm? Apparently, Terrence went on a podcast and talked about an uncomfortable encounter with Diddy. He said Diddy called him up for acting lessons, but when he arrived, things shifted fast. Diddy allegedly made a move, and Terrence wasn't having it. He shut it all the way down.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're gonna get a real reaction.
Honestly, it's getting to the point where Diddy being accused of making questionable moves isn't even shocking anymore. But Terrence's story hit different, because it's not the first time he's hinted at being blacklisted in Hollywood for refusing to play the behind-the-scenes game. and now it makes sense. He said no, and they shut him out. It also explains why Katt Williams is so invested. It also explains why his associate Casey came in on the same web that him being these assholes and getting caught. Because when Katt spilled his tea about how Hollywood emasculates black men and used Diddy as an example, Terrence was one of the first celebs to stand up and say, "I believe him." Terrence even gave a chilling quote, "My daddy taught me, never take the vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raising sheep, I raised men." He didn't stop there. Terrence boldly claimed that powerful men in the industry are trying to effeminize strong black men because they see them as threats. And even though he didn't name names back then, we know who he meant now. Fans connected the dots fast, and they praised Terrence for his bravery. But Diddy's sons, they were not applauding. In fact, they were allegedly preparing to silence him. And here's where things go from messy to radioactive. Justin Combs isn't just catching strays, he's front and center in multiple lawsuits. Producer Lil Rod dropped bombs in court, claiming Justin actively recruited young girls and sex workers for the infamous freak-off parties. And it gets worse. Lil Rod says Justin was involved in Diddy's alleged drug distribution ring. The receipts? Hundreds of hours of audio and video. Court documents claim Justin, alongside Diddy and assistants like Christina Karam, ran a RICO-level operation. They allegedly distributed drugs, firearms, and forced artists and creatives to work for free. This wasn't just a party lifestyle. This was an enterprise, and Justin allegedly helped run it. Even worse, whispers are circulating that Justin's been helping his father cover up some of the ugliest crimes behind the scenes. You remember that DUI scandal Justin was slammed for? The one that had everyone calling him another spoiled Hollywood brat? Well, now people are saying Diddy was actually the one driving that night and Justin took the fall. Sound unbelievable? It did, until Justin's mother, Misa Hylton, exploded on Diddy. She posted, "I'm not protecting no one anymore, just my son. A fish rots from the head down." She went off on Instagram saying if anything ever happened to Justin, everyone would know exactly who was to blame. She wasn't being subtle. Then came the real kicker. Lil Rod claimed that Justin helped cover up a shooting. In the middle of a studio session, things got heated. A gun went off and a man named G took a bullet to the stomach. Rod says either Diddy or Justin pulled the trigger, and he backed up his claims with photos and court filings. Yeah, this is no longer tabloid talk. This is federal investigation territory. But the mess doesn't stop with Justin. Christian Combs, Aka King Combs, is also under fire. He has been accused of objectifying his girlfriend online with disturbing photos, but even worse, he's got an active sexual assault lawsuit against him. A woman named Grace Omar Cake came forward with horrifying allegations about Christian during a 2022 yacht trip rented by Diddy. Grace was hired to work as a stewardess on what was supposed to be a family-friendly vacation. But according to her, the moment Christian arrived, things spiraled fast. She claims he spiked her drink, tried to kiss and grope her, then later trapped her in a private room and tried to force himself on her. She says she escaped, but not without bruises on her arm and lifelong emotional trauma. Let that sink in. And now, knowing everything that's swirling around them, these are the same sons allegedly plotting to jump Terrence Howard? You can't make this stuff up. But it gets even wilder when you realize this isn't the first.
Is Diddy all there is? Is this what represents hip-hop? This is what represents hip-hop in its entirety. That's not true. Do you forgive somebody for taking somebody's ass? There's a lot of people out here taking from people. Not only like people are getting robbed of not only their money and their spirituality. They're getting robbed of their womanhood and manhood. Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain. Do you chuckle? Do you laugh? Do you help? Do you criticize? Because I see a lot of jokes out there right now talking about baby oil. Everybody got a joke about having baby oil and lube. Is that okay? Is that the message? That was funny, fam. Now what? I don't use baby oil. Lube sometimes makes it better. Should I come out with Ray Y jelly and do some kind of like skit and say, KY just gave me a deal. Ray Y jelly, I got 1,000 of them. Ha 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 ha. Ray Y. That funny to you? It's not to me. Because there's a victim out there that has been caught up in something that has affected their lives. And if it has something to do with that, or it has something to do with any other products or any other thing you're hearing about, it's distasteful.
Ray J and Diddy used to be cool, real cool. They went to events together, worked on music, basically industry buddies. But when Diddy's legal issues started getting serious, Ray J's vibe changed. He stopped staying neutral and started throwing full-on shade. He took to social media and let it rip, exposing Diddy's business, dragging his name, and criticizing his alleged crimes. And baby, Diddy's sons were heated. Fast forward to Halloween night at influencer Tara Electra's party in LA, Ray J showed up with Amber Rose and his manager. Diddy's sons? Already there. The tension was thick. At first it seemed calm, but once the party ended and people started leaving, that's when the chaos hit. Diddy's sons cornered Ray J in the parking lot, and witnesses said it got scary. Hazel E., who was there, said she feared someone was about to get shot.
At the end of the party, when we were trying to exit the building, actually, I honestly just saw like Christian, Justin, Quincy kind of start circling Ray a little bit. Words were exchanged. I don't want it to really like get to this level, so out of nowhere, Chris Brown hops out the car like a freaking leprechaun out of the magically delicious sky, and like honestly, he started breaking it up. I tried to talk to Quincy, Christian, get their stance on it, and let them know that this wasn't the time and the place.
Just when fists were about to fly, guess who stepped in? Chris Brown. Chris saw the commotion from his car and jumped in. He and Ray J's manager pulled the groups apart, calming things down just in time. And honestly, Ray J got lucky, he walked away. But Katt Williams says Terrence Howard might not be so lucky. Because this time, Diddy's sons allegedly aren't planning to back off. And knowing everything we now know, from the lawsuits, the cover-ups, the shootings, the yacht incident, and the freak-off parties, Terrence might want to start sleeping with one eye open. At this point, it's clear, Diddy's sons aren't just protecting their father's name. They're protecting themselves. Because with lawsuits, accusations, and now video evidence allegedly showing Justin and Christian threatening Terrence Howard, this isn't about loyalty anymore, it's survival. Terrence didn't hold back. He called out Diddy's shady behavior, told his truth, and made it clear he wasn't playing Hollywood's game. And now, Katt Williams is backing him with leaks. That's dangerous territory. Let's not forget, Ray J went through the same thing. The moment he turned on Diddy, Justin and Christian allegedly cornered him at a Halloween party. It got so heated, people thought someone was gonna get shot. Hazel E. witnessed it. Chris Brown had to step in and break it up. Ray J was lucky. But Katt says Terrence might not be. He's not rolling with security. He's not hiding. And that makes him an easier target, especially with Diddy's sons allegedly running wild trying to silence anyone who speaks up. But baby, it's too late. The secrets are out, and if Katt's video is just the beginning, then Diddy, Justin, and Christian are about to face a whole storm they can't control. Because this time, the truth is louder than their threats. It is louder